With Kopra and Peake having placed their suits on internal battery power, the official start time for today's spacewalk, 6:48 a.m. Central Time. This view provided by Scott Kelly on the other side of the hatchway on the Quest airlock. A unique view looking inside the crew lock section of Quest as the two spacewalkers configure their equipment and tethers. Tim Kopra about to emerge from the hatchway to Quest. He'll be the first out, followed a few minutes later by Tim Peake. And you see Tim Kopra, very visible with the red stripes as EV1 or extravehicular crew member number 1 for today's spacewalk, now outside of the hatch of Quest.
Hey, Tim, it's really cool seeing that Union Jack go outside. This is explored all over the world. Now it's explored space.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be wearing it. Huge privilege. A proud moment.
Hey, Scott, we were just commenting down here, too, that camera view was perfect, so thank you for giving us that view.
This view from the helmet camera of Tim Kopra, you'll be able to ascertain one from the other by the numbers in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. 17 is Tim Kopra's helmet camera. Tim Peake's helmet camera, once it is activated, that will occur a moment or two from now, will carry the number 20 in the lower right-hand corner. And this view, as Tim Kopra, with one of the crew lock bags of equipment in tow, makes his way slowly but surely down the truss of the International Space Station, ensuring that all of his tethers are properly anchored to handrails on this translation path. About 200 feet of translation required for both he and Tim Peake to reach the work site at the far end of the starboard truss of the station.
Okay, if your bar is installed, black on black, good twist test, good pull test.
All right, that's great, Tim. You're removing and stowing the crew lock bag bundle on 2093, 2077.
Copy.
Tim Kopra will plant his feet in an articulating portable foot restraint to gain some traction as he will be conducting the removal of the single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place. This is a helmet camera view of the work site from Tim Kopra's helmet camera. We are 1 hour, 16 minutes into today's spacewalk, about 34 minutes away from the start of a night pass in which the crew will begin work to replace the sequential shunt unit. That again must take place while we're in darkness to remove electrical potential from the 1B solar array that is the object of attention. With the replacement of the sequential shunt unit, the power can once again be restored to the power channel from the 1B solar array that went down back on November 13th.
Guys, we got good KU. We're watching sunset right along with you. 3 minutes until we get started here.
Copy that. Thanks, Ray.
And I do see us getting a little ratty on the comm. That should last for about the next 5 minutes.
Okay, copy, Reed. Thanks.
From Tim Kopra's helmet camera, a good view of the pistol grip tool, the high-tech screwdriver, if you will, that he will use for about 30 turns or so, that will release the bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place.
Hey, Tim, everything looks great on the ground. You have a go to proceed. We're expecting 6 to 7 turns. Status indicator should go to unlock.
Copy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I felt it release. 7. I can feel the bolt skipping at the bottom. It's released. I have unlock indicated.
That's great, Tim. You can either reconfigure your PGT now or stow it, and we'll get it later.
So,
the failed sequential shunt unit is now released.
Unlocking the RET and present the interfaces to Tim Peake for an inspection.
Copy.
Kopra will now remove the failed unit and show it to Peake, who will inspect it to look for any damage or any charring, as well as any damage to any of the connectors before the replacement unit is installed in the slot at the base of the 1B solar array.
And I've got very good eyes on all 4 connectors and the bolt. Everything looks clean. No charring, no broken pins, no bent pins.
Okay, that sounds great, guys. Tim, you'll be stowing that on your BRT, and then Tim Peake positioning as required to retrieve the spare SSU.
Good. Down. Good. Engagement pins are starting to go in. Come down. No, come back out again. Please come to your left. Move the bottom of the box left and now come down. Down.
Not lined up on this side. I think it needs to come farther to my left.
If you just come over on the main bolt, I can twist the box and get it into position.
It sounds good.
So you just come down. You come down on your side. Now lift up the bottom of the box. Move it left. Move it just left 1 inch down. That's it. Your both engagement pins are in. That's good. Excellent. Connectors are on.
Really?
Yeah. That's good positioning.
How much was the other one separated? This one's separated by a couple inches.
Yeah, that's the initial position. Don't lift it up. That's a good position.
Okay. Is that what the other one was when I untorqued it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I never saw that piece of it.
Yeah. You can afford to push down a little bit. Maybe
it won't go anymore.
Okay, that's a good position. All 4 electrical connectors are good.
Apparently, the sequential shunt unit, this replacement unit, is now securely in place. The electrical systems officer, Tyler Thurston, is now going to send commands to the SSU to ensure that it's up and running in healthy configuration.
That's a firm CO2 sensor bad.
My apologies.
No problem, Tim. We're going to page 26 of the cuff checklist, and step 1 is to periodically monitor for water in the EMU.
Got that. We're going to page 26 as well. I have no CO2 symptoms, and I'll monitor for water. Yeah, there's no water read. I think it's a sensor issue.
Okay, that sounds good. We, as you well know, we've got a lot of people talking about it down here. Give me 1 second.
As the International Space Station flies 250 miles over the border between Oklahoma and Arkansas, a good view of Tim Peake with one of the equipment bags moving back down towards the Quest airlock to stow equipment, including the failed sequential shunt unit that was replaced by him and Tim Kopra a short time ago. As you heard, the new or the replacement spare SSU is up and running in good shape, and that is the precursor to the full activation of the 1B power channel to restore the station to a full power capability for the first time since November 13th. 4 hours, 5 minutes into today's spacewalk, Tim Peake, and this the first excursion for him outside of the Quest airlock, making very efficient time as he works through this rather complex stringing of the cables down the length of the modules of the International Space Station to accommodate the future installation of international docking adapters. These cables are being tied off in 3 different locations. The next connection will be the cables being mated to an Ethernet cable for what is called EPIC MDM. This is an acronym for Enhanced Processor and Integrated Communications Multiplexer Demultiplexer. That's a lot of techno jargon for processor cards that will upgrade the speed of commanding to station systems coming up through computer relay boxes in the future. Tim Kopra reporting a small amount of water inside the helmet of his extravehicular mobility unit.
The next little line there is if the DIDB is a confirmed source.
We're handing over communications between satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system.
About a half-inch line that I was able to get in front of me, and the water's cold. The secondary is water now, about half-inch wide, about 2 inches long.
Okay, guys, stand by just for a second. Guys, you can start opening your cuff checklist to page 7. We are in a terminate case, and we're gathering words for Tim Peake and where we'll leave you there.
Okay, copy that.
82, copy.
So terminate EVA, ingress, crew lock, connect SCU. So I'm going to clean up all my stuff here, read, and start heading back.
For Tim Peake, if you can go to 8 to max cold, that'd be great for both of you. We are ready for water switch to off, and you will get an H2O's off message.
Oh. OFF, right? Okay, coming in sequence, EV1, water off.
EV2, water off.
Back with downlink video from the Quest airlock. You see Scott Kelly as he is using a syringe to collect whatever moisture or water may have been collected inside Tim Kopra's suit. You see Kopra with the helmet off, the extravehicular mobility unit with the red stripes being assisted by Sergei Volkov on the right, Yuri Malenchenko on the left. Tim Peake is still inside the crew lock section. He'll be brought back inside the equipment lock a short time from now. A good overhead view of Tim Kopra back inside the equipment lock section of Quest, being assisted by Scott Kelly in the black shirt. And just on the right is Russian cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko. They will assist now in removing the SAFER unit, the simplified aid for EVA rescue, the jetpack unit from the back of Kopra's extravehicular mobility unit. Just to recap, today's spacewalk began at 6:48 a.m. Central Time. Kopra and Peake made their way outside of the Quest airlock, set up shop on the starboard truss of the International Space Station, and successfully replaced a failed voltage regulator unit called a sequential shunt unit that stopped operating back on November 13th, taking down one of the power channels on the International Space Station. Other tasks were in the process of being completed by Kopra and Peake when, at about 10:56 a.m. Central Time, Kopra reported a small water bubble had formed inside his helmet. After a brief consultation, Flight Director Royce Renfrew ordered today's spacewalk terminated. The crew made an orderly return back to the Quest airlock, closed the hatch. Kopra and Peake thanked the flight control team for a great job in choreographing today's spacewalk to return the station to a full power capability. They closed the hatch behind them, the spacewalk ending at 11:31 a.m. Central Time at the 4-hour, 43-minute mark when the airlock began its repressurization. And as you can see, Tim Kopra back inside. He'll be joined momentarily by Tim Peake as all of the evidence, water that had formed inside Kopra's helmet, plus the helmet absorption pad that is standard attire inside the helmet for all spacewalkers, and all other pertinent evidence is collected for future engineering analysis.